Kevin Stefanski didn't hold back. After Shedeur Sanders left Cleveland, the head coach unraveled, shouting in meetings, obsessing over game film, and reportedly lashing out at front office staff. It wasn't just frustration. It was the panic of a man who knows he's lost something irreplaceable. Sanders wasn't just a quarterback prospect. He was the chance, the hope, the escape from Cleveland's quarterback purgatory. And now, he's gone without even looking back.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
In that silence, Sanders said everything. This franchise breaks players. From the ghosts of passed-over greats like Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson to the endless string of injuries, benchings, and busts, Cleveland remains a place where talent goes to die. Sanders saw the storm coming and stepped away before it consumed him too. In doing so, he rewrote the power dynamic between players and teams, and the NFL took notice. The Cleveland Browns were supposed to turn the page. A new chapter, a new quarterback, a new shot at breaking one of the worst quarterback curses in NFL history. But before the ink even dried, Shedeur Sanders slammed the book shut and walked away. Preseason wasn't even over, and just like that, he was gone. No press conference, no Instagram statement, no teary goodbye, just silence. And the silence? That's what's making the entire NFL sit up straight. Because silence from a player like Shedeur isn't just absence, it's intentional. It's tactical. It speaks louder than a post-game rant ever could. He didn't just reject the Browns. He rejected everything the franchise represents. The Browns were counting on him. They weren't just hoping Shedeur would fit in. They were banking on him to fix everything. This wasn't a developmental pick. This was a desperate bet. And now, it's a bet that's already blown up in their faces. Kevin Stefanski, the man steering this ship, reportedly had tunnel vision. From the start, he zeroed in on Sanders like he was the answer to every problem Cleveland's ever had under center. The team threw support behind him. The media narrative was set. They had the guy. And then they didn't. Sanders' exit wasn't just unexpected, it was strategic. It wasn't about immaturity or ego. It was self-preservation. Because, let's be honest, Cleveland has earned its reputation. This is a franchise where talent goes to disappear, where quarterbacks get eaten alive. And Shedeur knew that walking in. He just didn't expect it to be this bad, this fast. It's not paranoia if it's the truth. And the Browns' track record with quarterbacks isn't just bad, it's catastrophic. Over 2 decades, this team has passed on future MVPs, chewed up first-round picks, and failed to develop even the most promising talent. From couch-flopping busts to locker-room implosions, it's been one long, painful cycle. And somehow, they're still spinning the same wheel. When Shedeur looked around and saw where this story was headed, he didn't hesitate. He did what almost no one does in this league. He took control of his own narrative. He left. This isn't just a player deciding to sit out. This is a quarterback handpicked to lead a franchise saying, I'm not letting this organization write the ending to my story. And that's what makes this so different. Most players grind it out. They stay loyal to the system, even when the system fails them. They buy into the culture, even when that culture is broken. But Shedeur wasn't interested in playing martyr for a team that's never shown it can protect its quarterbacks, on the field or off. Cleveland isn't just cursed. It's chaotic. And that chaos runs deep. Mismanagement, coaching turnover, quarterbacks treated like interchangeable parts in a doomed machine. Sanders' exit wasn't just about protecting his career. It was about avoiding the toxic spiral that has derailed so many others before him. And the timing? It couldn't be worse, for Cleveland anyway. Because this wasn't a quiet off-season move. This was right in the middle of preseason. Right when the team needed to be locking in, building chemistry, cementing their identity. Instead, they're scrambling. Stefanski's reeling. The front office is in damage control mode. Because when your future franchise quarterback walks away without a word, it's not just a loss, it's a crisis. And the fallout is massive. Kevin Stefanski, who was already under pressure, is now in the hot seat. His vision just collapsed before the season even started. Sources say his response behind closed doors was not great. We're talking full-blown meltdown. Because this wasn't just a player leaving. It was the unraveling of a plan that Stefanski had wrapped his career around. His faith in Sanders wasn't just professional, it was personal. This was the guy he thought would turn it all around. Now Stefanski is left trying to lead a locker room that's confused, frustrated, and most importantly, losing faith. Meanwhile, the fan base is spiraling. Again, there's no outrage really, just exhaustion. Because if you've been a Browns fan long enough, this doesn't feel new. It feels inevitable. Another promising name walks in. Another letdown walks out. Rinse and repeat. Sanders didn't even give them time to believe. And maybe that's the most brutal part. Cleveland didn't get the usual arc. No highs before the crash. No magical comeback moments. Just nothing. He left before the dream even started. Around the league, the reaction has been swift. Executives, players, and agents are all reading between the lines. Shedeur's move wasn't just personal, it sent a signal. If a quarterback with that much promise doesn't want to stick around in Cleveland, what does that say about the franchise? About the culture? About the direction? It says everything. And now, Cleveland's reputation is under the microscope again. Because this isn't about one guy leaving. This is about the pattern. The cycle, the never-ending saga of quarterback failures that has become the Browns' defining trait. It's not bad luck, it's dysfunction. And Shedeur Sanders saw that. Early, he realized that no matter how much talent he brought, no matter how much potential he had, the environment around him was going to ruin it. Just like it has for everyone else. So he left. He didn't make a scene. He didn't point fingers. He just walked away. And that silence? It was deafening. It was deliberate. It said, I'm not going to be the next name on your list of broken promises. The NFL is watching. Young players are watching. And now, there's a real conversation happening about what kind of environment Cleveland actually offers. If you're a top-tier draft pick, are you willing to risk your career there? Are you willing to roll the dice on a franchise that's burned every quarterback it's ever had? And if the answer is no, then what happens to the Browns? Because if players start opting out or pulling away or demanding trades before things even start, it's not just a quarterback issue. It's an identity crisis. And the Browns? They're running out of chances to fix it. Sanders' departure wasn't a loss. They've had those before. This was rejection. And rejection cuts deeper. Because it forces the franchise to look inward and ask the question no one ever wants to ask. What if the problem isn't the players? What if it's us? That's the conversation Cleveland's front office doesn't want to have. But now they have no choice. The fan base is tired. The locker room is shaky. And the NFL has labeled them, again, as the team to avoid. And all because one quarterback made the boldest move we've seen in years. He left. On his own terms. Quietly. Powerfully. He said no to dysfunction. No to being another statistic. No to repeating the same story. And now, the Browns are back at square one. Again. So what do you think? Was this the right move by Shedeur Sanders? Can a quarterback ever succeed in Cleveland as long as this cycle continues? Or has this franchise already solidified its place as the NFL's cautionary tale? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Like if you've been through the Browns' emotional roller coaster before. Share if you know someone who's still holding out hope. And subscribe for more breakdowns on the most chaotic, jaw-dropping moments in sports. Because when it comes to the NFL, there's always more drama coming. You can scroll through team statements, check beat reporters, watch Stefanski stumble through interviews. But no one has answers. Not real ones. Not the kind that explain how one of the most hyped quarterback prospects in the NFL just walked away from a franchise that's been begging for someone like him for decades. The Cleveland Browns are used to disappointment. What they're not used to is rejection. Not like this. Because Shedeur Sanders didn't just exit. He didn't get cut. He wasn't traded. He didn't go down with an injury or lose the locker room or struggle to adapt to the playbook. None of that. He assessed the situation, saw what was coming, and decided, no, I'm good. That's devastating. For a franchise built entirely on the hope that maybe this time it would work, this was the worst-case scenario. It wasn't just another quarterback failure. It was a quarterback calling them the failure and choosing to protect his legacy before they could drag it through the mud. Because let's stop sugarcoating this. The Browns are not a quarterback-friendly franchise. They never have been. And the proof isn't in one or two names. It's in the graveyard of signal callers who were sold as saviors and chewed up before they ever had a chance. Tim Couch, Brady Quinn, Brandon Weeden, Johnny Manziel, Deshaun Kaiser, Baker Mayfield. All came in with hype. All left broken, benched, or both. And now Shedeur Sanders joins the list, but not as another failed experiment. No, he walked before he could become one. And that changes the entire story. This isn't about talent. Sanders has it. It's not about pressure. He's lived in it. His father is one of the most famous athletes of all time. He's played under a media microscope since high school. He's made for the big stage. But what no amount of talent or pedigree can fix is a toxic environment. A culture that devours potential instead of nurturing it. A system that treats quarterbacks like temporary plugs instead of foundational pillars. And that's exactly what Cleveland has become. Sanders figured that out faster than anyone expected. And you know what? That might be the smartest career move we've seen from a rookie quarterback in years. Because the NFL doesn't hand out second chances the way people think it does. Once you get labeled bust, problem, underachiever, it sticks. And in a city like Cleveland, where dysfunction has been rebranded as rebuilding over and over again, that label isn't just possible, it's inevitable. It's not just that the Browns haven't developed quarterbacks. It's that they haven't protected them. Not with consistency. Not with competent coaching. Not with real support from ownership. Just panic moves, rotating offensive coordinators, and Hail Mary draft picks. And Stefanski? He might be the face of calm and pressers, but sources made it clear. When Shedeur walked, Stefanski lost it. Fully. His entire blueprint for the season got ripped out from under him. He didn't just lose a player. He lost the only plan that had any promise of escaping the curse. That's how much the organization had riding on Sanders. And that's how much his departure rocked the core of this franchise. Because now they're not just a team without a quarterback. They're a team no quarterback wants to play for. That's a different kind of problem. A dangerous one. The NFL runs on quarterback play. You don't win without one. You don't build anything without one. And when word gets around that a top-tier prospect looked at your entire organization and decided his best move was to not play at all, that's not a red flag. That's a flashing siren. And let's not pretend this hasn't sent shockwaves. Across the league, agents are having quiet conversations. Players are re-evaluating the teams on their no-trade lists. Even college prospects are paying attention. Because when someone like Shedeur Sanders makes a move like this, it resets the narrative. It tells players, you don't have to get stuck in a broken system just because that system drafted you. And for the Browns, it forces a long overdue reckoning. The question isn't what happened with Shedeur anymore. It's why does this keep happening? Because at some point, the franchise has to stop blaming the players. At some point, they have to ask why quarterbacks consistently underperform, break down, or burn out in Cleveland. It's not a coincidence. It's a pattern, a culture issue, a leadership issue, a legacy of dysfunction that no one seems able or willing to clean up. Shedeur's move wasn't just about Cleveland's past. It was about his future. And the fact that he saw those two things as incompatible is the most damning statement of all. He didn't need to say a word. He just walked. And now the Browns are in damage control mode. They'll say it was mutual. They'll say it's about fit. They'll recycle the same tired statements they've used after every quarterback exits. But deep down they know this one's different. Because this one wasn't supposed to happen. This one wasn't about failure on the field. This was someone getting ahead of failure. This was someone reading the room and deciding he didn't want to be part of the next headline, the next spiral, the next cautionary tale. And let's be honest, who can blame him? Cleveland isn't a mystery. It's not a team with a few bad breaks. It's a franchise defined by dysfunction. And until that changes, top-tier players are going to keep treating it like what it is, a career risk. So now the Browns are quarterbackless. Again, the locker room is demoralized. The coaching staff is scrambling. And Stefanski? He's closer than ever to the edge. And the fans, loyal, long-suffering, endlessly hopeful, are being asked to start over. Again, another preseason thrown into chaos. Another storyline rewritten. Another shot at redemption evaporated before it could begin. They've seen this story before. The only thing that's new is that this time, the player walked away before the franchise could ruin him. And that's what hurts most. Because when your quarterback quits on you without saying a word, it's not just about the player. It's about what he saw behind closed doors, what he experienced in the building, what he knew just days into his pro career that told him Cleveland was not the place to build a legacy. And now, that silence has become the loudest message of all. Shedeur Sanders didn't leave in a storm of controversy. He didn't take shots on his way out. He didn't try to control the media narrative. He simply stepped away. And in doing so, he exposed a truth the Browns have been dodging for years. You can't fix a cursed franchise until you admit it's broken. And right now, Cleveland is still in denial. So where do they go from here? Probably nowhere fast. They'll shuffle depth chart names. They'll issue optimistic soundbites. They'll float trade rumors and tease free agent signings. But none of it addresses the real problem. The foundation is cracked. And until they rebuild that, it doesn't matter who lines up under center. Because quarterbacks don't fail in Cleveland. Cleveland fails quarterbacks. And until the franchise faces that head-on, what happened with Shedeur Sanders wasn't just a preseason blip. It wasn't a rookie misstep or a forgettable footnote in training camp. It was a statement. One that ripped the mask off a franchise still pretending it's not haunted by decades of dysfunction. A top-tier quarterback prospect assessed the situation and said, flat out, this isn't it, and then walked. Let that sink in. He was the Browns' future, the centerpiece, the plan. And before he even made it to week 1, he dipped. Not with drama, not with attitude, just clarity. That's what makes it so brutal. Because Shedeur didn't get caught in Cleveland's collapse. He dodged it. He saw the cracks in the foundation before the house fell and said, not today. And for the Browns, that's the most devastating rejection of all. Think about it. After everything, after selling fans on a new era, after parading out yet another quarterback as the answer, after Stefanski doubled down on Sanders as the face of his offense, they're right back where they started, confused, scrambling, and empty-handed. And worse, exposed. Because when a player of Shedeur's caliber, with the NFL pedigree, the media spotlight, and a brand already on the rise, says, I don't trust this organization with my career, it doesn't just affect the locker room. It reverberates across the entire league. The message to other players is crystal clear. Beware Cleveland. That's not just bad optics. That's damaging. Every free agent, every draft pick, every agent with a promising client now has a new talking point. Are you sure you want to go to Cleveland? You saw what happened with Shedeur, right? Because let's not pretend this is normal. Quarterbacks don't leave franchises before they've even had the chance to fail. Most stick it out. They fight. They hope things will change. They ride the wave even if it's crashing. But Shedeur didn't even wait for the wave to hit. He took one look at the water and got out. And maybe that's the most rational move we've seen in years. He didn't gamble his future on a franchise that's never proven it can protect young talent. He didn't let the hype trap him in a situation that everyone else tried to spin as promising. He didn't let desperation or legacy talk him into staying in a place he knew would sink him. He walked, and in doing so, he shattered the illusion. Because for all the PR polish, the rebranded leadership, the talk of culture shifts, nothing has changed. Not really. Cleveland's still the place where quarterbacks go to fail. And now, the quarterbacks are starting to figure that out, too. That's the real shift here. Not just in one man's career, but in player agency, league-wide. Shedeur's move signaled a new playbook. One where players stopped letting legacy franchises with broken systems dictate their worth. He reminded the league that protecting your brand, your health, your trajectory isn't selfish, it's survival. And that's what this was. Survival. He's not the villain. He's not soft. He's not entitled. He's just someone who's watched how quickly Cleveland turned stars into shadows and said, not me. Meanwhile, Kevin Stefanski is unraveling. Sources say his reaction behind closed doors wasn't just frustration, it was panic. Because this wasn't just about losing a quarterback. It was about losing the entire season before it started. Stefanski bet big on Sanders, poured his system into the rookie, rebuilt the offense around his style, his tempo, his strengths. And then, gone. Just like that. And now, there's no plan B. No clear pivot. Just a mess. The locker room is shaken. Veterans who were told, this is the guy, are now looking around, wondering what the hell just happened. And the front office? You can bet they're scrambling to plug the PR hole with vague statements and forced optimism. But nobody's buying it. Because this isn't a blip. This is a pattern. And everyone knows it. It's a cycle the Browns can't break. Overpromise, underdeliver, blame the player, start over. And the fans, bless them, keep hanging on. Every draft pick is hope. Every press conference is a reset. But the outcome? Always the same. And this time, it didn't even take a full season. It barely took a training camp. That's how fast the dysfunction bled through. And if you think this doesn't impact the league at large, think again. Because in a sport where quarterbacks are the most prized asset, having a franchise that can't keep one from walking before the season even starts is a warning sign. Cleveland isn't just cursed, they're toxic. And that's a label you don't shake easily. Other franchises rebuild. They fail, but they try. They course correct. Cleveland, though, they stay the same. And players are noticing. Shedeur noticed. That's why he didn't say a word. Didn't go on a media tour. Didn't air dirty laundry. He knew the story would tell itself. And it has. His silence was louder than any public statement. And Cleveland? They're still pretending it's business as usual. But let's be honest. There is no business as usual after this. Not when your supposed franchise QB ditches you in the preseason and the NFL watches it happen in real time. This wasn't a football decision. This was a culture check. And Cleveland failed. Again. So where does that leave the team? With yet another reset. Another off-season of pretending this one was just a fluke. Another quarterback search. Another shot in the dark. But the truth is, you can't rebuild until you gut the rot. And right now, Cleveland keeps trying to slap fresh paint on a crumbling wall. It doesn't matter how many coordinators they replace, how many schemes they change. If the foundation is cracked, nothing stands. And players know that now. Shedeur knew that. He didn't have to be a martyr. He didn't need to stick around to prove a point. He left, protected his name, and kept the power where it belonged, in his own hands. The Browns? They're left with the fallout. Another quarterback gone. Another season in limbo. Another sign that what's broken isn't just personnel, it's institutional. So what now? Does the franchise finally look in the mirror and admit the problem goes deeper than bad draft picks? Or do they keep pretending Shedeur's exit was just some rookie mistake? Because here's the truth. If the Browns keep refusing to change, they're going to keep losing players before they even take the field. And one day, even the fans might walk, too. So what do you think? Did Shedeur Sanders make the boldest move of the offseason? Or did the Browns fumble yet another shot at redemption? Let us know in the comments. Like if you think Shedeur just saved his career. Share with someone who's still riding the Browns roller coaster. And subscribe if you want more real talk, breakdowns, and brutally honest NFL drama. Because this league, the chaos never quits.